What's going on, YouTube? I'm back with another video. I'm actually in the process of moving, so before I bubble wrap and box all this stuff up, I figured I'd do another video of all of my 1:1 scale Predator busts. I'll start with this one. It's a mass P1 torso. This is actually an unmasked P1 torso offered by Diluted Concepts a few years ago. It's all resin, and I think I never quite got the story straight, but I think that the molds belonged to Bobby Cossi at one point of the full figure, and this is what it was converted into. At the time, I wanted a P1 biomask, biohelmet, and I had missed out on the HCG prop. So we removed the unmasked head from this and replaced it with this biohelmet. Individual foam dreads with resin dread beads. Here's his bone necklace, the trophy spinal column, his shoulder cannon. Next we have is Scott Marshall's Predator 2 Elder. This is actually the first Elder bust that he ever did. So the paintwork on here is not as complex as some of his later work. This is an all resin version. The same deal, individual foam dreads with the resin dread beads and decorative beads, ceremonial beads, neck ring with beads, painted eyes. Then we have here Scott Marshall's Elder torso. This is an all resin replica again. This is just like the Elder bust. This was the first torso he ever produced. So again, the paint job is a little more primitive, I guess, than all of his subsequent work. Bone necklaces. You see the leather strapping, the resin buckle, netting. Painted eyes, and same thing. Foam dreads with resin dread beads and decorative beading. Here we have Bobby Dullum's resin P2, the City Hunter. This is the main Predator from P2. This comes from the collection of Larry Kidd, who heavily customized the sculpt and did the finishing work on this. Picked it up directly from Larry. I actually blame Larry for my addiction to this hobby. Painted eyes, individual dreads, again with the resin dread beads. This is slightly larger than 1:1 scale. Here's another City Hunter. This one was by Elm Studios. I think it's a Bob Baggy sculpt, but I'm not sure. This is latex, foam-filled latex. I'm not a fan of latex because of the lifespan of the material. Bjorn did a really good job with the paint. Probably one of the more detailed Preds that I own when it comes to paint applications. Same thing, the resin dreads, foam dreads with the resin dread beads, acrylic eyes and resin teeth. And this is, unlike the Bobby Dullum sculpt, this is slightly smaller than 1:1 scale. Here's Sideshow's P1 bust from the Winston Moles. Now, unlike the fan-made stuff, the paint work on this is not as nice. It's one of the first, if not the first, Sideshow bust that had acrylic eyes. Something else that most fans are not crazy about is that the dreads are part of the sculpt. Another Sideshow pred. This is the Wolf, and same deal here. Acrylic eyes, translucent resin teeth. Unlike the P1, Sideshow went with silicone, not foam, but silicone individual dreads, which was a nice touch. The dread beads are part of the dreads itself. The quills are of the same silicone material. Wolf's grenade, which does light up. Here's a Scott Marshall's Elder that was heavily modified to look like Snake from the end of Predator 2, one of the Lost Hunters. Recently, a couple months ago, added the dreads. Haven't got around to putting the quills on or anything. Eyes are painted. The neck was thinly cast, so there's a lot of cracks. You can't see it here, but the neck is cracked. So I have to cover that with the neck ring or something. Scott Marshall's Closed Mouth P1. This is another resin replica. This is actually the one that he used to use to promote his, his P1 builds. This was actually his cover photo on Facebook for quite some time. I didn't pick this one up from Scott directly. I got it from a member of the RPF. It has the bone necklace, latex neck ring. This one, unlike the Elders that he did for me, has acrylic eyes. Here's I believe Peter Manders Wolf bust, and this is like Studios City Hunter. This is a latex replica, foam filled. For not having any actual reference at the time as to scale or anything, he really came close to the actual size of Wolf. Eyes are painted. The light is kind of drawing out some of the details in the mouth. Resin teeth, individual, again, foam dreads with the resin beads. I figure I'll show these off since I'm standing right here. Sideshow's Queen Alien Facehugger, and Frank Cerny's Facehugger Stasis Chamber from Aliens. I didn't get the kit from Frank. I got it secondary market from a member of the RPF, a friend of Frank's actually, and I convinced Frank to put it together for me. It is wired for light. I don't have it plugged in, otherwise I'd show it off. Frank was very nice, very kind to hook me up with the proboscis for the facehugger, and the facehugger is actually a Halcyon, an old Halcyon facehugger that I sent to John Alred to paint. I'll do a separate video on this one day, but in better light I'd like to show off the details of the face huggers. The stasis chamber itself is mostly metal. This part is I don't know if it's acrylic or resin, and the base is, but these are all metal. And it can hold water, but I don't think I'd ever trust, even though John waterproofed the face hugger, I don't think I'd ever fill it with water. Here's my version of the spinal skull and spinal column of one of the predator's victims. This would be his trophy, I guess. It's all bloodied. I guess when I move and I set up the new prop room, I'll figure out how to display this with all the other hunters. I do have other predator props like the spear and some bios and then throwing disc. But most of that stuff is already packed up. I'll conclude the video with Cinemaquette's 1/3 scale predator statue. And this was sculpted by Steve Wang. This thing is a beast. Very heavy, solid. The arm, the gauntlet actually lights up, but I need to replace the batteries in here. That's Cinemaquette's 1/3 scale Geiger alien. So that's about it. If you liked the video, please hit like, subscribe, and if you have any questions, just throw me a comment in the comment section. I always answer them. If you have any questions on the makers or on any of the materials involved with all of this stuff, I'm more than happy to answer them.